Hi everyone and welcome back to Novel Nomad. Yes, I haven't been on here for a little while. I have been reading, I just haven't been doing as many videos as I have been wanting to do, mainly because life just happens and I have been slowly wanting to make more time for videos just because I missed it so much. And like I said, I still think I was suffering the hangover of not working in a bookstore anymore and not talking to people about books all the time. It's just been a very big change from like the 4 years that I was working in that bookstore. So without further ado, what is making me absolutely and positively excited for reading and why I wanted to come on here is because Victober is just around the corner. Victober stands for Victorian Literary October. So basically you read Victorian literature throughout the month of October. I've participated for the last few years. It honestly is such a wonderful and vibrant community. I highly recommend you join in if you want to try any Victorian literature or read anything from that era. And as usual, we have a lovely hosts, Kate, Howe, Katie and Lucy. I'll link their accounts down below as well as their announcement videos for you to check out. They do have some excellent recommendations on there. And like with any book readathon challenge, there is some challenges in which you can take part in. Now the challenges, one was picked by each host. There is a group challenge, a group read and like a bonus challenge as well. So starting off, I'll be going through each challenge and the book I have chosen for that challenge. Lucy's challenge is to read a book with a female main character. Now obviously there's some amazing titles that come to mind with this one, but one that I desperately want to read and I haven't is Thomas Hardy's Far From the Maddening Crowd. I have been reading so many Hardy books, but this is one I have not read, and it's one that I feel really needs to be read. So the female main character in this one is Bathsheba Evergreen, who is basically a working woman who inherits a property and she runs it herself. She doesn't feel the need to marry or have a man run it for her and just live off the profits. She decides that she wants to enter this workers' field and become who she wants to be in her inheritance. And I think it's going to be really fascinating. So many people love this book, love this Hardy, so I can't wait to read it. I have seen the adaptation of it, which I've enjoyed nearly all of the adaptations for Far From a Maddening Crowd, but we shall see how I go with the book. So Katie's challenge is to read a book set in the countryside or perhaps the city. Now for this one, I'm not sure if it's set in the countryside. This is The Laodicean, another Hardy on my list. This one I'm hoping to buddy read with Adam from Memento Mori and Kate Howe. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get to it, but even so, hopefully I can get to this one. It's about a woman who inherits a castle from her uncle. And I assume Stancy Castle is in the countryside. I can't think of many, besides Windsor, many castles that really were built in the middle of a city. Perhaps the city built up around the castle itself. So hopefully this is a fairly wonderfully Gothic castle that it can be built in the middle. And Thomas Hardy is known for his rural and pastoral literature. So hopefully this definitely hits the countryside mark, but otherwise another Hardy that I'm going to hopefully tick off my list. Next is Kate Howe's challenge is to read a sensationalist novel. Now there were some wonderful sensationalist novels and I have read quite a few of them. Mary Elizabeth Braddon is always an author I recommend if you want to check them out. So I will be reading one of hers during Victober, but I'm not sure if it counts as a sensational novel. That is John Marchmont's Legacy. But another one that I have wanted to read for a very long time and I haven't, which has always surprised me, is Dracula by Bram Stoker. Obviously sensational novel for the topic itself, vampires, very saucy, but one that I really want to read. And I picked myself up a copy of this after last Victober because I think quite a number of people read it last Victober and it was just making the rounds on the hashtag on Instagram. So I just really wanted to pick up a copy for myself. So if you've read this one, let me know what you thought down below. I haven't read a lot of vampire fiction, so I think I'm going into this with a great frame of mind for reading it as a classic rather than a horror. But yeah, so otherwise looking forward to this one. Next is the group challenge, and that is to read a popular Victorian novel. Now I'm a bit on the fence about these two because I really want to read both of them, but I know given the size of one of them I won't be able to commit to it for the whole month of October. So The one that is a bit chunky, of course, is a Dickens, and I have not read it, and that is Dombey and Son. I really want to read Dombey and Son. It's got some amazing reviews. People have just loved this book, and I loved the stories and the characters within this. Of course, Dickens knows how to write a fantastic character and wonderful character arcs as well. And he does know how to write ginormous books. But that aside, I'm not sure if I'll be able to commit to this one just because I have so many other books on my TBR that I do want to get through. So the other option is North and South by Elizabeth Gaskell. This one will be a reread for me, although to be fair, I did read this one when the TV adaptation first came out. I think you all know which TV adaptation I am referring to. I think that's nearly, gosh, 8 years ago now. But yeah, so I did read it quite a while ago, and weirdly enough, I think I read it so quickly that I can't quite remember every wonderful detail of this book, and it's one of the books that I just loved, so I really want to be able to remember every wonderful detail of this book. So I think this is definitely deserving of a reread, and one that is not as ginormous as a Dickens. So this might be very much on the option to read. This one I also will be doing as the bonus challenge, which is to either read a chapter out, have a chapter read to you, or even listen to an audiobook of a Victorian novel. And that is going to be, I'm going to be listening, I think it's Juliet Stevenson, who's done so many wonderful audiobooks. I'm going to be listening to this one this time, so I think that will be really fun. Lastly, the group read is Gothic Tales by Elizabeth Gaskell. I cannot find my copy. I know I have it, it's somewhere, but I cannot find it. So that is a wonderful collection of short stories by Elizabeth Gaskell, who was wonderful in writing tiny vignettes. So if you like the vignettes and those short stories, she does do a marvellous job. So, and these are a bit more on the Gothic spectrum. I have read The Old Nurse's Story or Tale. I think it's Story, Old Nurse's Story. That was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed that. But I do want to read the rest of the series if I can possibly find my copy. If not, I'll be hitting up the library and hopefully snag a copy from there. So that is what I'm planning to read this October. I am so excited. I am hopefully going to be doing some other wonderful Victober videos for you in the coming weeks. Give me time. It's taken me a few months alone just to get back on in front of the camera, but definitely hope Victober will just reignite that spark that I do love making these videos and just talking to you all about the wonderful world of books. So let me know what you're planning to read for Victober. Let me know if you've read any of these and if you can recommend. And if you recommend Dombey and Son, it's definitely worth the chunkiness of the pages. And I'll see you all next time. Happy reading. Bye.